Good morning, this is Dominic with TheBackVlog. I just finished The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D on the 3DS, which I'm now realizing is actually fake. Well, the cartridge is real, but when I bought the case, I was like, I gotta get this thing replaced because I don't like the black case. I'm realizing now that the actual label itself is a fake because the cut lines are weird, and I can see the Hewitt-Packard logo on the inside of it. So I thought that was pretty funny. I don't really mind, it's fine. Like I'm just glad I have something to house the cartridge, but yeah, I found that a little humorous. Yeah, this game was really sick. Incredibly ambitious. Like obviously, because I'm playing the more modern 3DS version, I can't really attest to, you know, how advanced some of these systems were. Same thing with Ocarina of Time also. And I think I would like to play the originals one day to get a greater appreciation for what they were historically. But until then, that was this is the experience, or this is the way that I experienced it. First of all, you have the clock system, which is incredibly stressful, and like, you know, the whole end of the world thing. It's got Outer Wilds and Fear and Hunger 2 DNA. I've never played Fear and Hunger 2, but I think honestly that has even more of an influence on that game than it does Outer Wilds, because, you know, you have the whole Termina Field thing, as well as the scheduling system, which is also really cool. The scheduling system is insane. I guess like in terms of Outer Wilds, like you have the schedule of the planet rotation, the orbital rotation of everything, but you don't really have to balance the schedules of people, of NPCs. You know, there's a lot of that here. It's really interesting. It's really in depth, and I am curious like how it is translated from the Nintendo 64 version. Hence my very ambitious comment earlier. I kind of wish I didn't have context for what the moon looks like in this game, because if I saw with no context at all the moon for the first time in this game, and you know, the cover of it kind of spoils it, but the N64 version didn't. Like, imagining myself in the year of 2000, I believe this game came out, and seeing the moon for the first time, because you see it, I think the first time you actually see it is whenever you're the Deku Scrub Link, and you go to the observatory, and you look through like the telescope. That's like the very first time that you're able to see it, and just like seeing that like Ganon-esque ugly ass smile that is coming to wreck everybody's shit, that would have terrified me if I was younger and I had no idea that that's what the moon looked like in this game. Along with the scheduling, you also have like the time rewinding mechanics, which is different from the Ocarina of Time, where like you're switching between two different timelines or time periods to kind of like solve puzzles and everything. Here what you're doing is like it's like time manipulation, so it's like going back to the first day or fast forwarding to a specific hour to trigger an event, or slowing down time to give yourself more time. It's really interesting the way that it differs itself from Ocarina of Time, and kind of like using the same, you know, Ocarina mechanics to freshen it up. Really, the only notes I have for the bulk of the game come from the end of it, because that's when I was like really writing notes. Because, you know, overall it's just your general Legend of Zelda adventure. The main crux of it is like the mask collection, which, you know, you can get certain abilities with each mask too, which is also really cool. You know, you kind of like have several different move sets depending on what mask that you're doing, and then closer to the end of the game you get to sections where it kind of like combines the necessity to use those abilities. But specifically in the Stone Tower Temple, where you need everything, there's a siren. This lighting is not very ideal. I apologize. It's really bad. I gotta get like a front light or something at some point to like lighten up this side of the frame. Anyway, so yeah, the Stone Temple Tower is like, or the Stone Tower Temple is combining like all of the abilities of the masks to traverse through the whole thing. And it was making me tear my hair out and lose my shit. And that's when I really felt the pressure of the time, because I spent so long backtracking just trying to figure out how to traverse this thing and get through all the puzzles. And you know, you have like the really cool flipping mechanic too, which kind of reminds me of like some of like the spiral-esque rooms in Ocarina of Time. Those rooms are incredible. These rooms here were incredible. I love just kind of like looking at things from a different and surreal perspective. It's very Escher-esque, kind of, not really. And then when I eventually got to the twin mold fight, it was obviously it was super difficult, and I didn't have much time to defeat him. The first time I actually got to him, I was already at the evening of the final day. I don't remember what they call it. It's dawn. I guess it's the dusk. It's the dusk of the final day. So like I had like this timer while I'm fighting the boss, and I'm like, I can't freaking do this. But at least I knew how to get back to the boss without backtracking. So I went back to my previous save, and you know, made it there in time to allot myself enough time to fight this thing. What I had to do to fight this thing was kind of nuts, and Robin was watching me do this too. But so the really cool thing, I don't have my 3DS on me, but the really cool thing about this game and Ocarina of Time is that it uses the AR cameras on the front. It adds like a sense of like an aiming mechanic whenever you're, you know, aiming your grappling hook or your bow and arrow. So I'm standing in the middle of the kitchen, like trying to follow the one twin mold, and like I'm standing and spinning 360 to like aim this thing. It felt like I was really there actually. It was kind of cool. The immersion of that feature in this game is nuts. And then when you unlock the Giant's Mask, spoilers for the twin mold fight, and then subsequently for the Majora's Mask fight at the end of the game, you unlock the Giant's Mask and you become big. And it's just straight up kaiju shit. It's so good. Like I was not expecting it. This game is so weird. It's just a weird game. You know, conceptually it's weird. All of the game mechanics are weird, and then you get the weird fights and the weird aspects of the fights. But yeah, you're like a giant Link, and you're just like fucking King Konging everything, and like just punching and rolling, and yeah, I just felt like it was some kaiju shit. So once I defeated that, then I was in the end game going towards the Majora's Mask, and I was actually worried. I'm leaving the country in a few days, only visiting. I'm gonna be gone temporarily, but so yeah, if I don't upload for the next 2 weeks, that's why. But I wanted to finish this game before I got onto the plane, because I didn't want to bring the cartridge onto the plane with me, because I have my 3DS loaded with a bunch of ROMs and everything, so I don't need a tangible game with me. So I was rushing to get to this Majora's Mask fight, and in doing so, I neglected to do any other side quests. I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna go in and do it. And because I was rushing it, I weakened myself into the fight. I only had half the heart canisters I needed. I had no fairies in bottles, or potions in bottles, or magic juice in bottles. So I go in there, and you get to like this really surreal, like this pasture with this tree in the middle of a hill. And it's really serene and just weird and dreamlike. And it's such a cool, unexpected set piece. And there's a save point right there. And my dumbass decides to save rather than, you know, just let it go, or at least make a copy of my save file. So I have one save file, and I saved over the point of no return. So I'm basically, whatever I have, I'm stuck to. I didn't even collect all the masks. I collected like a third of the masks. So I couldn't even get any of the other like good stuff from like the side optional stuff that you could do when you go to interact with the other giants. And I was like, okay, so I fucked myself basically. So I go into the Majora's Mask fight, and it takes me upwards of 20 tries. Like I got to it last night, and like I was just like trying it not over and over again, like giving myself some breaks in between. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try to do it this morning. And after like a good 5 or 6 tries, I finally did it this morning. It was straight up like an Elden Ring boss. I compared Ocarina of Time to Elden Ring. I'm gonna compare Majora's Mask to Elden Ring also. I feel like there's a lot of old school 3D Legend of Zelda DNA in the FromSoft games too. I don't know if that's like a hearsay thing to say, but I don't give a shit. It's fun to immerse yourself in gaming history to see how the dots connect. But yeah, so like, you know, with each phase, like an Elden Ring boss, I'm learning, you know, the best strategies for each thing. So it's like I'll get through the first phase, and the first phase takes several tries just because you're learning the thing. Then you do that, then you get to the second phase, and so on and so forth. This is a 4-phase boss fight, so I have to do this 4 times over while perfecting each phase beforehand. And I eventually did that. You get to the 3rd phase though, and like it just adds on to what I said about it being super freaking weird. You have the Majora's Mask basically becoming like a humanoid and doing like these dance moves and like taunting you and like doing the freaking Michael Jackson moonwalk and breakdancing and all this shit. And it's just so weird, and it feels like so juvenile, and like, I don't know, there's like a really strong sense of just mischievous adolescent nature to the thing. And it's really odd. Usually whenever you get to a boss in anything, it like, you know, obviously you want to justify fighting the thing, so it's like, I'm fighting this for a reason. And you know, it's sending the moon spiraling into the earth to, you know, cataclysmically destroy the entire thing. And that's a perfect reason to go, you know, fight this goddamn thing. But whenever you get there, it's like it feels like you're just fighting a kid, and it's really weird. It's really odd. So yeah, I do that, and then I end up getting to the last phase, and the last phase took me a few tries too. I eventually found out that you can use the Zora mask. If you use your barrier move, you can stun him and, you know, get a few hits in. And then I got to the part of the phase where he starts sending the exploding spinning tops, and I did not get that far into that phase. So I saw, like, that was the first time I saw that. I was like, oh crap. So like, I'm blocking everything. You can block them perfectly. And then I realized that they explode, and I was like, oh shit. Okay, so I got to keep away from these things. So he starts sending the tops and everything, and I'm completely ignoring them. I'm just like going over to do my barrier thing to shock him and hit him. And then there's one point where I corner him, and he sends the flying top. If the top hits the Majora's Mask, it stuns him. And I somehow, like, I did it completely by accident. I didn't do this on purpose. I'm not some epic gamer, as I would like to be, or as I claim to be. Not that I claim to be, but I somehow stun locked the Majora's Mask with his own top. And like, I keep hitting him and like dodging the explosions when they get there. But like, whenever he like regains his composure, he just sends a top again. But like, it's to his detriment, because he's stun locked into a corner with his own tops, and I'm just like, I keep hitting him, and that's how I defeated him. So I don't know how I did that. I would not be able to replicate that. I got incredibly lucky, and that was the end of Majora's Mask. This was an incredible game. I love this game. I think I'm one of those people. I know there's heaps of people who think Ocarina of Time is overrated, and who think Majora's Mask is underrated. I'm not going to throw my hat into this ring, because I like them both equally, and I haven't played either one of the original versions. So I am not at liberty to say which one is definitively better, as if either one is better than the other. As for saying whether or not Ocarina of Time is overrated, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, because it is a historical landmark in this medium. As for Majora's Mask being underrated, I also don't know if I agree with that, because I think so many people have said Majora's Mask is underrated at this point that it is perfectly rated. I don't think it's overrated. It's definitely not overrated, but I don't think it's underrated either. I think maybe at the time, since it had a weird cult following, I guess, you know, I could see that, but nowadays I think Majora's Mask is just generally lauded as a great game by everybody who's played it. I don't think it's underrated. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on Majora's Mask, the 3DS version at least. But yeah, I love this freaking thing. I'm excited to play some more Legend of Zelda in the future. And yeah, that's about it. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.